We're going to see a lot of details come out. We're going to have a lot of discussion about that. Nick Recato, like I said, he's been very active right now, too. In the past, for a while, Recato was active, but he was somewhat limited, I'm going to say, in his reactions to things. Right now, he is very active on social media. He is active on YouTube, discussing things. He is active on Twitter, which, again, he can do whatever he wants with that. I hope you don't make statements that could end up causing you problems. But again, he's noted before, too. He can talk about whatever he wants, and he's actually right in that. There are ramifications that can come through with that. But yeah, I mean, you had a lot of people just wholesale talking about it. And in a way, some details I was glad were discussed. There was the discussion again, just going backwards. Like I haven't talked about this in a hot minute. But going back with the notes of CPS, their notations of there were visits on this date or this date or this date, things like that, clarification were good. They actually tell you, yeah, these things, they involved incidents that, as a foster parent or this or that. Okay. Now other things, again, I get wanting to answer things. I just hope that when you're running a live stream, it's not like doing an 8-minute video about something. In a live stream, you can say a lot of things and a lot of dumb things in the moment, potentially. In discussing other cases, that's okay. When you're discussing your own case, yeah, that can cause more problems. I mean, it really. But anyway, law enforcement spoke to defendant. He acknowledged the relationship and using Signal app. However, defendant stated he did not recall ever receiving or sending a nude photograph of KR. Huh. That's interesting. I don't recall doing that. Well, if he didn't do it live, it would have potentially been much harder to prove, But again, he made the mistake of doing something. It's just like with the probable cause with Recato. There's been discussion about what should be admissible or not, all of that aside. They referred to records. The police are using live streams, so you're doing something like this on a live stream. Yeah, it's I get why you wouldn't want to memory hole that and pretend it didn't happen, but unfortunately, all of that exists. It's still there 100%. It's very hard to deny in that moment. Oh, Lord. So he later said that he did not want to definitively say that he never received a nude photograph, but cannot recall being sent one. He's like, check this out. Check out where that tattoo is. I don't ever remember that. You gotta be kidding me. Again, I get denial. I get it. I get it. He's like, oh shit, I messed up. I don't want to say that I never received one, but I never received. Defendant acknowledged using Signal. Defendant resides in Stern County. Additionally, defendant's studio, Stern County. Defendant has an online talk show where he live streams multiple times a day leading up to this offense. And since this offense occurs, defendant oftentimes talks about KR and or things between himself, KR, NR, and AI. And he has that right, by the way. He does have the right to talk about all of the stuff that went on, barring any kind of, legally, we get into the free speech argument. If he had an order against him that says that you can't do X, Y, or Z, then that would be one thing. But he does have the right. I don't think anybody has been arguing that. I mean, the argument, I also saw people saying that Nick, he hates the government, but isn't this utilizing the government? And I was like, I don't, sharing nude pictures of people, I mean, come on. I get what people are saying with that. It's because ultimately, for myself, I know how I would like to handle a situation. If somebody would wrong me, I know how I would like to, but there's the idea of in the confines of the law. So I know how I would need to react in a situation like this. So yeah, you're definitely going to communicate. So comments made during these live streams are concerning, especially in light of this incident. Now, I'm curious about what comments, because again, you can dislike the guy, not believe him, but he does have the right to talk about stuff. But this, I mean, it may well shut down him. He's gone on every show and its mother talking about this too, and it may potentially shut down the discussion of it. I don't know. You would think. Here's something that boggles me too. And I mean, for anyone, if I'm in trouble with the law, or if I'm involved in a court case, I'm not going to talk about it. Maybe I might have to answer an item here or there, but for myself, you know, my lawyers, I want them doing the talk. Now, the Rekieta thing has gotten so big that there are certain things that I do see clarifying, but a lot of this, with a lot of people that have been involved, some of that stuff would trip you up. You know, a lawyer would be like, a good lawyer would tell you to shut up, you know, and they'll tell you, you know, when you're involved in something, you make the nicest comment that you can, you know, in the confines of it. Like, yes, you can confirm something's going on because people already know about the arrests. They already know about certain things. But they would tell them, you know, shut up because less is more. You don't want to give away anything. You don't want to accidentally admit to anything. And there are a lot of people that haven't stuck to that. Now, interestingly, out of anybody that's involved with this, I would say that unless there's more that I haven't seen that's been posted in the aftermath, the women actually have not talked about it. You know, it's been wild to watch. But anyway, the state believes the defendant will not stop and will continue to harass. So there, you're talking about harassment. Now, harassment has 3 items that have to be proved. You have to prove that it's intentional. And this is definitely intentional. You know, you could say, yes, indeed. You know, we're talking about the picture, but anything else, yes, intentional, 100% aimed at specific people. So it's not just some incidental thing, not talking about, you know, a case that came up. He wasn't covering, you know, an item in that, and there's a repetition. That's what they're, you know, this has repeatedly happened. And then you have to have the threat for harassment, you know. And then when they throw in harassment, yeah. So they're noting that conditions need to be set. Now, that's an interesting statement, too. When you say conditions, you know, there are limitations. Like, I don't know, saying, when you're talking about this relationship, maybe don't send around photographs like that, showing them to everybody and their mother. On top of that, maybe don't, this hasn't happened as far as I'm aware, but don't show any of that stuff live either. You know, again, I could see conditions being set by the state. And he opened himself up for that, by the way. He 100% did. But given that, the state is requesting a body-only bench warrant to be issued. Complainant has reason to believe, and does believe, that all, of course, everything is 100% true. You know, you can see this go out, and yeah, you see the date on that. Fascinating. Now, we actually had a follow-up video that talked about this too. And again, I'm just, to make this clear, I am just talking about the Aaron portion today.
Thoughts? Audience? Thoughts? Any super chatters out there want to talk about this guy getting ambushed by the fact that his wife is banging a cocaine fiend? Anybody? Oh, we got $10 from Will Heron. It says, ha 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 ha. How's that hot tub stream hitting you now, buddy?